I'm Daniel. I'm from Germany. I'm now in my own business. I'm a photographer, and I like to share with you a little bit out of my life.
Daniel, tell me, what's that one thing you wish your dad taught you as you became a father and you realized, man, I wish my dad taught me this, you know? What would that be for you?
Well, there's one thing what my father wasn't able really to do, and that is, or was, still is, to express emotions because he never had learned that. And I think it's a good thing to express that, to have a warm family relationship with your dad and not something which is just factual. It's more, there's no emotional basis, no strong emotional basis. And
Yeah.
yeah, and I think that would be a good thing what you should express as a father.
You have, remind me, is it four boys?
Yes.
And what was that like for you being a dad to four boys? And talk to me a little bit about that emotional connection. How did you go about expressing that to your boys? What was the difficult part for you? And tell me a little bit more about that.
Well, I'm still, as I have not learned that from my dad, I'm still not that emotional guy. But I try on the other hand to also be open for them, to talk with them, to take them, to hug them. And so I'm trying to be different.
How did you go about learning a little bit on how you went about doing that? Maybe even with each son, what was the difference between the older son and maybe the younger or middle son as you were learning through those different stages and years? Even though you're not perfect right now, I think a lot of us dads are still growing in that area, myself included. Um, how was that for you? Because I'm sure I can learn something from you as well.
Well, I think you should not always focus on the points which you where you miss out. It's more that you just try to be yourself, just to be in a good relationship with Jesus, to be in a good relationship with your wife, and also then it becomes natural that you having a good relationship to your children too. And then it's also easier just to focus on that areas of emotions that you say, oh, I'm also trying to be emotional to my kids. I'm taking them by the hand. I'm listening to them. I'm hugging them and yeah, being close to them. So that I try to explain to them that if there's any issue that they can come to us and that they also find confidence in that. So they'll not be afraid of their parents.
Wow. You talked about listening, hugging, maybe holding their hands and giving them that kind of full attention to making them know that you are there for them and you have the time for them. Which of those do you feel like maybe was one that connected most with your boy?
I think first I want to say each boy is different. So like every person is different. So Janis is our oldest. He's a more emotional boy. He needs to be close and warm. That's what he needs. Other boys they don't need that so much. Everybody needs. I think everybody usually needs some warmth and to be uh, comforted and
Yeah,
hugging that things. Yeah.
excellent. Wow, you as you talk about that, it reminds me of a book called The Five Love Languages by Gary Chapman, I believe his name is. And my wife helps me a lot in this area too, because she's been teaching me a lot of things how to connect with my boys. Of course, I have two boys, and it's to be able to connect with them at their level as kids and be doing it in such a way that they know you care for them, where they can express their emotions, however easy it is for them, especially if they're not talking, but you're still trying to connect with them. And then when they start talking, how to connect with them even better. But the Five Love Languages by Gary Chapman, I know he talked about, I think it's quality time, uh, touch, acts of service, words of affirmation, and I can't remember the fifth one, but they have it for kids, Five Love Language for kids. And one of the things my wife was pointing out to me is that when my son wants me to run after him, like he will grab something and then run away, he wants me to chase him. It's not just a fun activity for him, but it's actually him saying, chase me down, because that's a love language for him in kind of connecting with him. I think it's touch. It's that way of chasing him down, grab him, chase him down, grab him, and kind of connect with him that way. And I realized, whoa, kids really show this in different ways. And I didn't realize that until my wife started pointing it out. And we read a little bit in the book, Five Love Language for Kids. Along the journey, how did your wife kind of help you along the way? Because I realize our wives really play a key part in this.
Yeah, my wife is also more one who has these love languages of touching.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she's more an outgoing person, like I'm more introvert. Yeah, so for her, it's much easier to express that things because it's just a natural thing. For me, it's not something which I have to focus on. For me, it comes not through the emotion, it comes to my brain. So I'm thinking about what is right and good to do, and then I try to do that. She doesn't need to think about the things. It just comes out.
Wow.
But so all the kids having different. I just said for the first one, the touch is one of his love languages. You know, the second one, Joas, he loves more if you're getting gifts or something like that.
That's the fifth one. Gift is the fifth one. That's
Yeah.
right. That's right.
Other ones needs more acknowledgement, but I think nearly everybody needs that in the world. Acknowledgement for what you think, what you're doing. Some more, some less. So.
Were there any families or any other person who played a key part in your life that helped you to learn more in this area as you became a dad? Was there anything else in your journey of becoming a dad to this stage that you would want to point out to other guys out there that might be helpful?
Well, I didn't found out anyone just around in my family who were supporting me in that area. So, and that's what I maybe also want to mention. It's always difficult if you have some expectations on things. It's better to focus on how you can solve a situation, to make the best out of the situation. If you expect that there must be someone who helps me because I have a need in that, or I was not supported for my family background, then it often you're shifting the responsibility to somebody else. But there sometimes you not can shift it to anyone who will be dealing with that.
Yes.
So you just it's just somehow an excuse, and you stand there, even if you think it's my right that somebody would care about that area, but you find no one who is guilty. I cannot say my parents are guilty because they lacked in that area, because they also had this lacking from their parents, from their background. They never experienced that. So that's why I think the best thing is just to focus on what I can do to make things better, not to be grieved, not to be angry with anybody, just to see how I can manage these things best. And that's why I think the Bible also helps us to see how Jesus dealt with his people, how to study the characters of God, and then also asking God that he will help you to be changed by him. And then when you will be changed by God, then it's automatically that you will be a changed person to somebody else. So I think the focus is more on your relationship with God first, and then the other comes just from alone, just as a natural outwork. Otherwise, it would be always trying to be maybe somebody else as you actually are. then you're trying to accomplish something what you not be able to do. And then you're maybe having your own expectations on yourself, and you feel that you not can match that one. And then you feel disappointed, and then maybe you're giving up. That's why I think it's good to focus on Jesus and then just be yourself, and then you can also express love and touch to others in that area.
I like this kind of principle and practice because I do believe that Jesus is an excellent example for any area to grow in. As the kind of guy who thinks from brain to heart, what would you say to other men who process, that way? How would you guide them in this process?
Well, I think if you act through your brain, then you also can act with your brain, not to put the most focus on what I have to do. You also can act with your brain and say to yourself, that's not the most important thing in life. Yeah, that I need to turn in that area 180%. Just try to be natural and just try to emphasize that area a little bit more and more and more in your life, but not that it must be the most important part. Yeah, it's not always helpful to focus on your legs. It's more helpful to focus somehow on your strengths, and then automatically also the areas which are not your strong areas will be improved. So I think that's a decision what I can do with my brain.
Excellent, excellent. Daniel, this is so good. Thank you so much for sharing this with us. And as we talk about fatherhood and, just digging into that, is there any website that you, I know you're a photographer, so is there any website if people want to find you, or if people would want to check out your work, or maybe have you come do a photo shoot for them? If so, where would they find you? What's your website? How could they contact you?
Yeah, my website, I'm photographing many children, so in kindergartens. So my website is kindergartenfotograf-stuttgart.de.
Excellent. And I will write that also in the footnote.
You need to write it in the footnote, and then somebody can find me.
Excellent, excellent. Daniel, thanks again so much for joining us here today. I've learned a lot from you, and I know the guys out there have learned a lot from you as well. Have a great time with your family, and keep connecting, keep being the best that you can be. And it was a pleasure chatting with you. One love.
Thank you, Tico.